Welcome back to Reffing with the Sappers. We have another exciting game for you. I'm going to be the center on this one in a match that was held on March 26th at 9:30 a.m. in Roseville, California. The home team was Roseville Premier. They'll be in the black uniforms, and the visiting team was San Juan. They'll be in the teal uniforms. Sometimes I'll likely refer to them as either blue or green, but these are U15 boys. They were born in 2008, and it's an exciting game.
Throughout the course of this match, we call the away team blue, green, teal, and this is a house divided on this one. So we need your opinion to settle this argument.
It's green.
It's blue. We need your opinion. Post in the comments below. Blue, green, or teal. Settle this argument and vote for blue.
Green. Green.
It's blue.
Katie was assistant referee on the far side of the field. And on the near side of the field, we had another assistant referee. Her name was Olivia. She was very good throughout the match.
The first call on the pitch was an offside call. Let's see what happened. Right there, the blue player very near me, I was on the line and he looks very offside by this. There might be a few players that look like they're keeping him onside, but there's still space where he is offside.
Our next decision point was a foul called in the field for a trip. Player comes through and his foot just interacts with the other. It's kind of laces to laces. Obviously, falls down. Make the call very quickly and signal direction. Easy call. Our next decision point was called for a trip on the field. Let's watch it. So right there, Green's got the ball. Yeah, he kind of gets his ankle caught up there. Watch it again real quick here. Right there, you see him kind of stumble. Easy call. That decision also ended up being important for the match because on the free kick here, we'll see player has a really nice long distance shot, crossed it over, got a nice header. They scored a goal from that. Our next decision point was a no call on the pitch for a possible handball. So here Black is on the attack and he comes up. That player kicks it up towards his player. It hits number 23. It does hit him in the elbow, which if he made his body unnaturally bigger, it would be a handball. But that's kind of a normal running motion. I made that a no call on the pitch and allowed it to keep playing. Our next decision point in this match was a trip. It was pretty straightforward. So Black's got the ball. Green just kind of comes through there trying to get the ball, but really gets Black's ankle. He falls down. He's like, where's the foul? Yep, I'm calling it. I'm signaling direction. In our next decision point, this was a call for a push on the field. It's right there. Black kind of kicks it over. And then right there, there's an interaction that happens. It's difficult to see because of the camera angle here. We're actually looking through the back of this teal player here. So it kind of comes in, and behind him, the teal player just pushes Black off the ball. You can actually see me. I'm kind of got a bad angle on it, so I'm looking through this player as well, and I'm kind of leaning back like this to try to see around it. Our next decision point was a no call on the pitch. It was in the box, so if we'd called it, it would have been a PK, but there's just kind of a scramble for the ball after it had been sent in here. And then right there, the Black player falls down. So if I rewind it, and we just slow motion it, right there is where any contact would have happened, but they're just teal player and the Black player just kind of battling for the ball there. No real foul contact. Teal clears the ball out and it comes out. You can see me signal, no, 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 nothing there. And then I'm like, get up, we're going to play on. Our next decision point was a call for a trip on the field that resulted actually in a direct free kick where the teal team scored. This did end up being a critical point in the match. So here, guy kind of sticks his leg out. Teal kind of trips over his leg. I'm blowing the whistle and I'm signaling direction, giving Teal a kick. But if we back this up and we watch it in slow motion, what we see is that right there, the Black player actually makes a really good slide tackle, gets the ball out, establishes his position, and then Teal initiates the contact. Let's watch what the aftermath of this is, because on the kick after, right there, it goes in. Very nice goal. Very nice kick. Keeper never had a chance, but they scored a goal in that, and they never should have had the kick in the first place because I missed the call. So that's gonna be a major decision point. We're gonna deduct 2 for that. Our next decision point was a no call on the pitch. I saw this as 50-50 shoulder to shoulder, but there Black comes in, contact with the teal player. But if I pause it here and I slow it down, right there, I see some extra arm action. Like if he doesn't do this with his arm, then I think it's a good shoulder to shoulder, but he does give that little bit extra that causes Teal to go down. If you look at my angle on the pitch, I'm kind of looking through here, but I don't have an angle of what's happening between them. I don't see what's actually physically going on between them, which is why I end up missing this one.
The next point that we'd like to highlight isn't actually a decision point, it's just something that young ARs should know. So right there, there's a shot on goal, and the goalie is mishandling it. So now it's like rolling towards the goal, and I'm like sprinting my little heart out to get to that goal line to see if it goes in or not. Even if I wouldn't be able to make it, then it still just adds some credibility.
She's down at the corner, so it looks very credible. Um, Everybody trusts her decision, but if she had not sprinted, she'd still be up here, and everybody be saying, "Well, you couldn't see that. How can you possibly make that call?" Very good job by Katie. Something that doesn't come up that often, but it's very important when it does come up. So you need to run every time. Our next decision point was a push in the back that I called on the field, and then we also consider a yellow card. So here Teal is attacking, and then Black comes in and kind of bumps him from behind. Let's watch it again. Right there is when it happens. Now, at this point, I call the foul, but I'm considering whether or not should be a yellow card there. And because of my angle again, I couldn't see the separation between the players. So I couldn't see, was there a push or was it just kind of a bump and maybe his hands were out like this trying to stay. So I actually go and I run over to Katie and I talk to her about this.
We ended up discussing that there should be no yellow card. So this is just good communications with the AR, and inevitably we got the call right.
Our next decision point was a call for a trip on the field, and then I watch it to see if advantage should be played out. Let's watch it here. So the ball comes in, they go up, they challenge for it, he gets clipped on the foot, and then I'm kind of watching to see whether or not one of his players down there can get it and take it away. Ultimately, Black kind of gets it, and it's not a clear breakaway, so I make the call. Let's back it up here to this moment of decision. And Black is coming in at a fairly fast speed. The player did come in with his foot up and his cleats up, which if he were to have gotten him in the ankle or the shin, that's at least a yellow card, probably a red card, but that's not what happened here. Both of them have their cleats up, and basically their cleats end up making contact. I felt it was appropriate just to call the foul. Our next decision on the pitch was a no call. It's right there. They're just kind of battling some shoulder to shoulder. Green fights for it. You can see he kind of wants a little something, but he fights for it. There's no real rough contact. I think that's fine for this age group and a good no call. Our next decision point was called a push on the field. It's right there. The green team goes down. You see him, and Black gives him a little extra right there that causes him to go off. Our next decision point was a trip. Right there. Yeah. Teal just kind of comes around and Black clips him on the ankle. He goes down. Very easy call. So our next decision point was a no call on the pitch. Teal's attacking. Green makes a nice slide tackle here, clears the ball, and then Teal initiates the contact, falls over his leg, but no foul there. So our next decision point was a no call on the field. Really felt like the two players tripped each other, so it would be illegal contact, but it was equally illegal both directions, so I have no clue who to give it to. There they go. They both kind of just tangle up their feet. We watch it again slow motion there. Their feet are just tangled up. I have no idea who to give this to if I call it. I just no call it. Our next decision point was called for a push on the field. When this comes through, you see Black just come in behind him, not shoulder to shoulder, gives him an extra push, and the Teal player goes down. Our next decision point was a call for a push on the field. Here, Green's on the defense. Black comes in, gives him that bump right in the back, kind of pushes through him to try to get to the ball. An easy push call. Our next decision point was a no call on the pitch. Right there, Green kind of throws himself into that, kicks this ball. I do want to highlight this happens a lot in some of the games that we're going to review, and it happens a lot on the field where a player is trying to throw themselves into a kick to get around the defender, and that sends their momentum to the side. And people from the sidelines often see this and they think there's a push when there's really not. And if you also watch here, the Black player does have his arm out. Because he's falling, it can look like a push. There's a difference between I'm just feeling the space and pushing off. Like that's a foul, right? If she moves away from me, my arm's kind of still feeling the space, but I'm not actually pushing her off. And that happens a lot. Our next decision point was a call for a trip on the field. Green kind of has the ball here, and as he's coming by, you see him kind of catch on that ankle right about there. His foot just catches, goes down, simple call. Our next decision point was a hard push in the back that resulted in a yellow card. So there, Teal's coming in, and you just see Black come through and really push, not even pretending to try to play the ball. Gives him a hard push in the back, goes down. I reach in my pocket, I give him the yellow card, I call him over, and I'm looking to explain to him, say, hey, look, you got to calm down. That is not going to be acceptable in this match. What is also interesting is that throughout this game, this Black team and their coach came back to that a number of times and said, well, why did you give him a yellow card there? I think at halftime, he even asked him, why did you give him a yellow card? And like, if you watch this foul, like right here, boom, like that is a yellow card every day of the week.
Yeah, he's even trying to play the ball. He's just like,
so why later in the game they said, well, why'd you give him a yellow card back there? Well, like that's why. Like that's not acceptable. Our last call of the first half is a call for a handball. Teal has the ball there. He kicks it up. Black's kind of got his elbows out a little bit away from his body, and it falls right down, changes the possession. In our next decision, this was a no call on the pitch. Watch it. So there's a bump. Black regains possession, has a nice cross with a couple of people coming in that could have easily headed the ball in. If we play in slow motion, Green comes in here and it's not shoulder to shoulder. He gives him a push on the back that does kind of affect his ability to play the ball. Then Black comes around. I think there is a foul here, and what I should have done is signal for advantage. Though I think this is an advantage situation because he regains it super quickly. He crosses it. He's got three people here, all of which can make a play on it. The mistake here is that I didn't actually signal for advantage. So I think it's a half-point deduction. Our next decision point was a no call on the pitch. This green player and black player just kind of battling for it. And as the ball kind of squirts out, it looks at first glance like this black player might have clipped him on the ankle, but even with slow motion, you can see here this black player he doesn't even touch him. The green player and this black player between them, they're battling for it, and he just falls down while they're battling for the ball. It's a no call. This decision point was another one of those difficult ones where a goalkeeper and an attacker are kind of coming at a ball. So right there, keeper's coming out, it's getting the ball covered. Black's kind of coming in and is trying to stab at it, kind of gets bumped and falls down. I don't have a great angle on this. You can see me, I'm kind of trying to look around and look through to see what contact was there. But the way they fall, the way they get up, there's nothing there. Our next decision point was a foul for a push. Right here, Black just pushes the teal player down right here off the ball. There's a teal player in the way from our camera angle, so you can't see the push perfectly, but Black does push the teal player down. Now, from my angle, he didn't really try to play the ball. He really went through him to get it. Now, it wasn't like a totally reckless, but he also wasn't trying to play the ball. This game's starting to get a little bit chippy. I don't want this to get out of hand. I decided it's not a yellow card because it wasn't a hard push. But I also decided to go talk to the player here, and I'm just explaining to him here, like, look, I can feel the temperature of this match going up. I can feel some of your frustration there. Let's get that under control and let's watch it. I had also started to get some noise from that sideline, parents and coaches. I think I had even talked to the coach at halftime to say, hey, look, please get your parents under control. They were complaining about that yellow card that happened earlier. This is where I'm trying to manage the game. Our next decision point was a call on the field for a trip. Here, Black's trying to turn, and then he just gets clipped by the teal player there. Clear foul. The next moment we're going to review is actually a throw-in, and normally for this channel we don't review throw-ins unless they're particularly notable. This one is notable because it's a very fine point, plus I go and I talk to the AR in order to try to get this right, and there it really looks like in real time that Black kicked it out. But if we watch it in slow motion here, Black kicks it, and then right there, you see Teal has his toe out. You'll actually see the spin of the ball change direction. So it hits his toe, and then the ball spins this way. And I saw that. So I signal this way, the AR signals this way, and we're starting to get a little bit of noise from this side. I should blow my whistle. I go and I talk to the AR just to confirm. I go talk to her. She saw it the same way I did. Our next decision point was a no call on the pitch. Green is attacking here. Right there, he goes down. See me tell him to go ahead and get up. We're going to keep playing. Right here, Black and Teal are both kind of battling for the ball. They both kind of hit the ball. Black kind of gets it first, comes over. I think it's a good no call. Our next decision points are two quick ones in succession that happen right after the last one we reviewed. The first one's a no call, and the second one is a trip where we issue a yellow card. So right here, Teal kind of throws himself in order to clear that ball out. I think there's a good no call there because the black player doesn't bump him in any illegal way. But then right here, the black player comes through and really clips him hard on the Achilles. He's not trying to hurt him here, but that is a very hard foul and right on the soft tissue of his Achilles. I wanted to get this under control, so I go ahead and give him a yellow card there as part of game management. Our next decision point was a call for a trip on the field where we had another yellow card. So we're starting to get several yellow cards here in a row, but Teal comes through, tries to go in and clear the ball, but this is an example of how people say, well, he got the ball. Yes, he did get the ball here, but he also, with his motion, he initiates the contact into that black player who's running. This is an example of you can get the ball and still initiate illegal contact. I felt that was reckless. I felt that the temperature of the match was going up and people were starting to get agitated. So I felt like it was appropriate to try to tamp that down with the cards. Our next decision point is another one of those that I feel is one of the hardest ones on the field to make as a referee. Right there, they're coming in. Keepers jumps on the ball, tries to get it. You see Teal kind of overran it a little bit, and he's trying to come back to get it. That gives the black keeper time to slide in on the ball, and then you see the Teal player actually jump up to avoid the contact. So he goes down, but it's all kind of him jumping over the keeper. They don't even make contact there. Now, I end up doing this a no call. I double blow my whistle and I give him the arm saying, just hold the ball. I end up going over. This is another example of where I talked to the ARs in this. I wanted to make sure that she didn't have an angle that I didn't have. I want their input. Now, if we listen to the audio on this, I was really impressed with this coach. We do listen to the audio. You'll hear them initially be upset about the call, but then he does a good job later on about telling his team just to play on.
That's a foul!
You hear him or maybe some parents saying, hey, that's a foul. What's going on? Now, as we've seen with the benefit of the video, it wasn't a foul. We fast forward to after the final decision's made.
No foul. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Just keep playing. You guys, turn around.
And then in the audio, you hear somebody say, boo! And then the coach tamps it down. He says, hey, look, it's fine. Let's just keep playing. So, very good job by that coach. The other side, I will tell you, even though we don't have their audio, had been much worse in other calls. Kudos to this coach for his support there. Our next decision point was for a push. If we watch it here, Green kind of comes in, gives him an extra arm, pushes him down. It's an easy call for me. You see, I call it very quickly. You also see this coach and a few other people on the sideline being like, hey, this sideline had started to get a little bit out of hand in this match. As the temperature went up, they were on the losing side and they were looking, I felt like they were looking for somebody to blame. It's unfortunate we don't have the audio from this side, but kind of a classic situation where they were wanting every time their player touched on the others, they wanted no foul. That's just every time their player was touched, they wanted to call their direction. Our next decision point was a no call on the pitch. It was down in the corner in front of Katie. There, Black's kind of coming around. There's some battles for the ball. Black battles, wins it, and comes around. Here, Teal actually touches the ball first, and then they kind of bump shoulder to shoulder, and Black battles through the shoulder to shoulder bump, wins it, and then has a nice attack in for an opportunity for a cross with a teammate right here in a position to score. Felt like it was a good no call at the time, but I also know Katie likely had a better angle on what might have happened between those players. So I decided to go and talk to her and get her input. The sidelines losing their mind. Of course, they want the foul, right? Now, even if I had thought there was a foul, I might have called advantage because he breaks through it and goes in. But we talk about it. Katie, what did you see?
I just saw a good battle for the ball. I also thought that it should be no call and it should be a goal kick.
Let's go back and let's listen to the audio on this one, because even though the Roseville parents are on the far side, we can't actually, they yell loud enough on this one, we can't actually hear them on the audio. So let's listen to this one.
No. Nothing.
No, it's the same on this side.
No.
Through the audio here, you can hear the black team's parents from the far side of the field say, come on, come on. And then, they're very upset about not getting the call. It's funny, you can actually hear the parents on this side also say, what are they upset about? There's no foul, right? And then when I go and I talk to Katie, you can also hear them on this side, well, why are you, no, why are you going and talking? There's nothing there. Give us the time to talk about it. Give us the time to get it right. Ultimately, we do get this call right. The next decision point was a no call on the pitch. Right there. Green and black are just kind of battling for the ball. But Green kind of goes in with his cleats extended. Black clears the ball out, and Green gets him right on the top of the foot with his cleat. I did not see the contact. I thought it was just ball to ball, but I should have read the body language of the player. He's obviously hurting. So I think this is a missed call. I should have called it for a foul, and frankly, it should have been a yellow card for the Green player. So I think this is probably 2 missed calls here. The next call was a foul for a charge on the pitch. Let's watch it. So there, Black's coming through, knocks him down. I call the foul. Let's watch this again in slow motion. So there, this black player is running in. He kicks the ball forward, and the teal player actually kicks his foot out, and he actually deflects the ball. But his momentum carries him into the path of where this black player is. And then black player kind of runs into his bag, but as he's going by, Teal kind of gives him a little bit extra. I don't think this is a yellow card at all. Teal actually made a play on the pass, even made contact with the ball, established his position, and Black started the contact. Teal just gives him a little bit extra as he goes by, but because of his momentum, Black falls in a dramatic manner. So in my mind, definitely a foul, but also not a card-worthy foul. The coaches are here, their arms are up, they want to call, but I'm already blowing the whistle, right? But this is where some of the heated nature of this game, they start to, want everything, even when you're actually calling it. So let's listen to the audio on this one. So the parents are upset, coach is upset. I actually go and talk to the coach here. He's basically arguing he wants a yellow card there. He actually argues here it's exactly the same as the yellow card in the center circle right before halftime. Those fouls, in my mind, are completely different fouls. So I tell him, I'm calling the game. Please, your parents are starting to get a little bit out of hand. Let's carry on. The next decision point was an easy one for a handball. Right there, the ball comes up. If I play it in slow motion, the ball comes up. It hits the green player right there in his hand. He tries to get his arm back out of the way, but by then the damage is already done. We call it easy. Our next decision point was a call for a push on the field, but it ends up being controversial, and I go and talk to the AR. Let's watch. There, they're battling.
Foul.
Yeah. And then I blow the whistle, and I go and talk to the AR. This is one where I definitely felt like there were fouls, but it's back to another one of those where I felt like they were 50-50 fouling each other. So right here, they're battling for the ball. Black is kind of bumping Green in the bag, but nothing that's quite enough for a foul. And then at this moment, Green wraps his arm around the back of the black player. So he's kind of holding Black, but Black's also pushing him forward. So they're like mutually fouling each other. Then Black kind of grabs his arm and holds it. And then if we keep going here, they're kind of falling together, and then Green even kind of gives him a little push and they fall together. So in all honesty, on the pitch, I was like, yeah, there's fouls there, but who do I give it to? And ultimately, I decided that Black had maybe initiated this with the initial bump, even though it worked out 50-50. But I wasn't sure, and this happened right in front of my assistant referee. I wanted to go talk to her. Let's listen to her parents as well.
It's a what? It's our ball. What? I'm not sure. Fouling up. Taking us.
You hear them there just say, hey, it's our ball. Why are you going and talking to this assistant referee? So again, it's one of those from the referee perspective. I've only got 2 other people on this entire pitch who I can trust with unbiased feedback. That happened right in front of her. I think it's perfectly reasonable to go talk to her. Ultimately, we end up getting the call right. At the end of this, I'd been starting to get some flack from the sideline, which had been good the whole game. I come over, I just kind of explained to the parents, like, look, just please leave the refereeing to me. I'll take care of all of that. You guys work on cheering. Our next decision point was a call for a push on the field. The ball's coming back here, and from the right-hand side, you see green and black going into battle for this ball. Green's kind of throwing himself to get it. And normally this would be 50-50, but if you look right there, number 16 black gives him just a little bit extra. And so I had an angle where I could see that arm out. This is one where it's a little bit hard to judge whether he's just feeling the direction or did he push. I felt it was a push, and based on the way that he fell, it was a call for me. Our next decision point is a call for a push. Let's watch. So right there, he gives him the push. Black falls down. I call the foul, easy. What's also interesting is on the restart, you see this green player, he comes up and he stands within a yard or 2 yards of the ball. He's trying to delay this restart. Also do here is I give that player a verbal warning. Like, our next decision point was a pretty straightforward push in the back. They're battling for the ball, kind of legal. And then right there, he gives him the extra, goes through his back to get it. We call the foul. They don't get much easier. The next decision point happens immediately following the restart from that last foul. There is a jump. So they start the ball right here. Teal is going up to get the ball, but Black's coming into his back. You see him jump into the other player. That's a foul. Even though he gets the ball with the header, he jumped into him. So we call it. Our next decision point is another one of those difficult ones where a keeper is coming out and an attacker is coming right at him. Attacker comes in, keeper kind of gets the ball. If we back up here, right there's the moment of decision. Keeper got to the ball first. You can actually see the ball squirting out the other side. Black's momentum just kind of carries him over. I think that's a good no call. But I also know that Katie likely has a better angle on this. So you actually watch me here. I look over at Katie and point at her and I ask, did you see anything? Right? And then she does this with her hand to say, nope, nothing there.
I just saw like 2 people battling for the ball. The goalie already got it. It didn't look like Black made legal contact with the goalie.
The next moment we're going to review isn't a decision point at all. It's more of a discussion about the mechanics of a drop ball. In this situation, the green player there, nobody's near him. He takes a kick, he lands in a weird way, injures his knee a little bit, and goes down. As we go forward to the restart, this is a simple drop ball, and the laws of the game say that I drop it to the team that had possession, and the other team can be within 4.5 yards of it when it starts. So this is a legal drop ball. You see, I give it to him, and he kicks it long. And then the ball almost bounces over the keeper. Keeper's got a pretty good vertical, so he jumps up and he gets it. Yeah. You cannot score directly off of a drop ball. It has to touch 2 players before it can go into the goal. And in this case, let's say that keeper mishandles it and it goes in. That would be a goal because you drop the ball, the first player kicked it, that's player number 1 to touch it. Then this keeper, if he touches it with his hands, but it goes through and into the goal, that's player number 2, it would be a goal. Part of the reason I bring this up is one of the things that I like to do here, while this is strictly in compliance with the laws of the game, this ends up being, because he kicks the ball so far, this almost is the equivalent of a free kick for him, which is not the intent. I kind of like in these situations to actually ask the black team here to kick the ball back to the keeper. And if I had done that in this case, nobody would complain. The keeper would have the ball, he'd have it way back in the defending third, he'd be able to restart, and there would be no controversy. Whereas with dropping the ball here at this age group, they can kick the ball so far, and as we see, it almost becomes a goal. Just a tip that I try to use at these grassroots level, in this case, I wish I had had the black team actually just kick the ball back to the keeper, and this is a prime example of why I would normally recommend that to myself. Our next decision point is a push in the back. Where they come through there, Black just gives him extra right there in his shoulders, pushes him down. Not hard enough to be a yellow card, not really even considering it there. Our next decision point is a handball. This is immediately following the foul that happened just a moment ago on the kick. The ball is coming, it's going just off the screen here, and right here, it hits this black player's hand and then drops down. So I called this foul. You see I signal for the handball, no problem. Another interesting part of this is on the restart. You'll notice this ball is rolling and the green team, he kind of rolls it out, but the ball is still moving when he kicks it, and they clearly go down and have an attack. So this is another point. Laws of the game say the ball has to be stopped before you can restart play on a kick. And so I actually blow the whistle here, call it back, and make them restart it.
The next decision on the field was a no call, and it was right next to me. Right there, it just looks like it was all ball. Doesn't look like the black player was fouled. I had a very good angle on it, so I was also signaling that it shouldn't be a foul.
Our next decision point happens almost immediately after that for a handball. Let's watch it here. They clear the ball as the ball's bouncing up. It just hits that player's arm. His arm's out a little bit. He's made his body unnaturally bigger. He didn't really mean to be there. He wasn't trying to touch it, but it did touch it. It's funny. I signaled the handball, and he said, "Yeah, I didn't mean to." And I just told him, "Yeah, I know you didn't mean to. Unlucky for you, but it happens, and it's a handball." Following that handball call, there's an interesting exchange that results in a yellow card. On the restart here, you notice this green player again runs in towards the restart in order to intentionally delay what's happening. We're in the late part of the game. Black is trying to come back. Green's up by a goal, and they have been kind of slow playing things a little bit. And I have already verbal warned this player on a previous call that we reviewed to not try to delay the restart here. So you see, I kind of signaling back. He doesn't want to move. And then I pull out the yellow card for delaying the restart. In that case, I've given him opportunities. I'm giving him warnings. I'm sanctioning him here. So back, more kudos to this coach. After the kick here, you hear the coach explain to his player what happened.
I gave you a yellow card because you went 2 yards from the ball 3 yards. You got to go for the game.
And that is 100% right. Coach is giving very good instructions. Kudos to him.
We love.
Our next decision point is the final decision point of this match. It is a simple handball and very straightforward. Right here, the ball just gets kicked up by the black team. The screen player's coming in, his hand's right out there in front of him. The ball comes up, hits him on the wrist, drops right down. That ends up being our final decision of the match, so let's see how we did. With 58 decisions and 5.5 deductions, that gives us a separate score of 90.5%. So this was a good game, not quite a great game, though 4 of our 5.5 deductions ended up coming on 2 different decisions, one that was critical and one that should have included a yellow card. So it was kind of those 2 moments that affected the score a lot. But all in all, felt good about this game. It did get kind of heated as the game went on. Some of that's because the 2 teams are just battling and it's a close game all the way up to the end. I used my assistant referees quite a lot in this game, but honestly, looking back on it, it seems like the right decision. Thank you for joining us. I'm Scott.
I'm Katie.
And we'll see you out on the pitch. And there's a difference between just kind of between that and a full-on push.
Oh, shit. You found a lot of pleasure in that. Can we just appreciate the goalie's hops? That man's got hops. He was carrying.
Y los más colocados ahora, Ricky.
He's cute. That's where you do it.
Just punch a hole in the wall.